with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown run.
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Scott, I think since you do more Sports Blitz Saturday sports countdowns than anybody else, that we need to change that intro.
You know, I just like
just start with your name on there, and then go to the rest of us that seem to show up from time to time. I'm just glad I pulled today. Let me say that to you, Brett Pritchard. I am very happy that the schedule laid out that I get to be up here this morning. Some mornings in the depth of summer when I'm up here talking to you about LeBron James playing basketball or something, I'm thinking to myself, what bad deal did I strike out there to have to be up here talking about something that I couldn't possibly care less about? This morning, I'm going to get to talk about a lot of different things that I care a whole lot about, and that's high school football. And if you don't enjoy the second round of the high school football playoffs, you just aren't a football fan. You don't like football. There's something wrong with you. You don't like community. You don't like watching talent get better and better throughout the year. And, Scott, I happen to love all of those things. And last night was about as good as we get around Alexander City with a second-round win over a very game Hueytown team that's won as much as they have over the last 5 years. And so I want to start there, 47-27 win. Do want to give a hats off to Hueytown, though, and talk a little bit about them as we get started here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. A couple of years ago, Hueytown moves on, plays for a state championship. That tempo attack that they run is very hard to prepare for. And, Scott, it showed up last night. I've seen teams go fast. Nobody goes any faster in Hueytown.
Yeah, and they have the personnel to be able to do it, too. They come out very hot last night, scoring the opening drive, and you kind of could see that, all right, this is going to be one of those games where, you know, we're going to have to score, and a little concerned about, you know, if they would be able to keep up. But over the course of the game, defensively, you know, there were some adjustments made, and you look at the score and say 27, but in a high school football game, giving up 27 is pretty dang good. But going back to Hueytown, from a personnel standpoint, as you said, they have the ability to do a lot of different things that cause havoc for defenses and put you in some uncomfortable positions and a lot of one-on-one matchups and forcing you to have to decide if you're going to take the quarterback or the running back. And there was some adjustments, as I said, that needed to be made going into the second half. But overall, I thought the Wildcat defense played another outstanding game, and that's kind of been the catalyst for the success we've seen over the last 5-6 weeks.
Defensive line for Hueytown was outstanding. Big old guys, you know, and we'll get into our game plan. We're going to talk about us a lot. But I definitely, when a team makes it to the second round and has a program like Hueytown, you definitely want to give a little time to them. You know, I thought a key part of the ball game last night, unfortunately for them, Jaquel Rouser goes out in the first series. He didn't play last week. You know, I pulled that game up on NFHS, and I don't see 6 out there. And so my eyes go to that. What in the world's wrong with Rouser? You know, and those of you that don't know and, you know, don't cover high school sports, Jaquel Rouser had right at 2,300 yards of offense last year and 20 touchdowns. He had 220 yards against us in the first round game and 4 touchdowns last year. And, you know, they had Woods back there, but they also had Rouser. And, you know, you could take your eye off Woods for 1 second, and if you put it on Rouser, Woods would make a play, and vice versa. If you took your eye off Rouser, he'd be going the distance. And, you know, Jai Hicks makes a nice tackle on an off-tackle play to the left last night, and he had some running room, but able to track him down and make a tackle, and Rouser goes down and stays down, and we never see him back in there. And I thought that was a key part of the football game. Not that Hueytown didn't have the Bows and Joes to make up for it, but it's hard to make up for a player like that.
Yeah, and, you know, especially that early, and so you're looking at it where your game plan – I don't know exactly how much usage they had for him, but if he didn't play last week, probably was well rested, and he was going to be a major contributor for the offense for the Gophers. But as you said, goes down in the first series, and you know, I think that there was, even though they did score there, I think that there was a little concern of, okay, you know, how are we going to, you know, adapt to that? And so I think that provided a little more confidence for the Wildcat team as well, and understanding that was one less person that they would have to be responsible for stopping.
Quarterback for Hueytown, much better than I gave him credit for. You know, when you have Woods last year, who was Mr. Football for the state 2 years ago, he had over 5,000 yards of offense in one single season a couple of years ago when they went to the state championship game, and I'm guessing he had another 4,000 yards last year as a senior. When you have to replace him, you start to wonder, I mean, how much are we going to fall back? Well, buddy, their quarterback made some plays with his arm, threw the football down the field for a long touchdown reception, scored a touchdown rushing the football, I think, on that opening drive or right there in the first half. So it was a good Hueytown team. I definitely wanted to start the show with them because, you know, they were impressive, and it's a good win. You know, it's not like you just got a matchup that just went in your favor. You beat a really good team. And, you know, I was proud of our kids here in Elliott City, the way that they've gotten better throughout the year, and maybe we'll start with that on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we were semi-exposed in the first couple of weeks of the season from a physicality standpoint, from a youth standpoint. You know, when you're throwing, it may even be a junior, but if you're throwing a junior out there that hasn't played much and maybe hasn't taken any snaps outside of special teams, he's just as young as the freshman almost. He may look a little bit more physically ready, but first couple of weeks I think we were dealing with a lot of that because we lost a lot of players that had taken a lot of snaps for us. But, Scott, we have gotten Coach Simmons, Bart Britton on the defensive line. We have gotten so much better on that side of the football. I think it's the most, you know, we expected to be good on the offensive side. But the way we've gotten better on the defensive side is really nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the year, and you mentioned it. You know, when you lose 8 starters from a defense that was 8-2 and made it to the first round of the playoffs with that much experience, and you know, having to fill some holes, you have 2 guys that are 14 years old out there trying to adjust, and they may look the part, and Caleb Spivey does look the part, but still, those reps, you have to get game reps, and so. You know, part of it, too, we played one of those losses was Clay County or Clay Central, which was a team that ultimately went undefeated during the regular season. So it wasn't like we were playing scrubs and we got exposed in that fashion. I think Clay Central exposed a lot of teams. But saying that, as the year progressed, those freshmen became sophomores, those sophomores became juniors, and so you saw it start to happen. And so the confidence that this team provided, I think, also showed on the offensive side as well, because it took less pressure off of the offense to have to be a team that scored every drive. And so early in the season, if the offense couldn't move the ball or wasn't going to be able to score a lot, it kind of put us in some predicaments where, you know, we're behind the 8 ball at certain points. But defensively, I think that's really where we've made our stride, and I thought the Briarwood game really was kind of where I really felt it shifted. And so I don't know, in the defensive line too, like that is a portion where we were a little concerned. We had to move Cooper Spears from offensive lines. You take one of your best offensive linemen, you move him to the defensive side, a position he hasn't played, and ultimately, you know, 5, 6, 7 games into the season, he really started to find his way as well. And so you've seen that ability to be able to get pressure with our front 4 and our guys with Jai Hicks and Noah Lone came along midway through the season. So everybody just got better because they had reps. And so to your point, even if you are a junior, see, if you haven't played, you know, you're still as green as somebody who's a freshman. But Coach Simmons and his defensive staff have done an outstanding job, and something that you always used to talk about with Coach Brooks was how prepared you guys would be. Mm-hmm. I listened to how these pregame and these halftime conversations, they are so well prepared, and that matters when you're getting to this stage of the season.
Well, I watch them over there on the sideline, and they're communicating with one another, and you can tell when a team's well coached and when they're not. I mean, it just pops, especially if you've been around it. You've been on sidelines now for 10 years where you're the main guy down there and you're tracking, and I don't know if anybody stood on those sidelines any more than you. You can tell when they're prepared and when they're not. It's very easy now, and we definitely are, and it's showing up out there on the field. Defensively, though, I did want to spotlight a few of them. You know, the whole team deserves spotlight on a 47-27 victory over Hueytown last night. We'll play Pike Road at home next Friday night in the 3rd round of the playoffs. It'll be the first 3rd round matchup we've had in Elliott City since Bessemer City back in 2015, and it was one that we all will remember. But defensively, I want to start with the linebacker, Jai Hicks. Outstanding night last night. I don't know, maybe you had some guys that were really good around your age, and you know, I played with some good ones, but I don't know that anybody's going to end up with as many tackles as Jai's going to end up with. I think he's around 110 now. That's 3 straight seasons. He's had over 100 tackles at middle linebacker. Maybe somebody out there's had more. I mean, we can all throw names out. When you're in a small community like ours, anywhere, there's people that become a lot bigger stars 20 years down the road than we actually were when we were playing. But what I said to Brett this week on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup is Jai Hicks going to be able to pull it out and say, okay, you tell me how good all y'all were, and here's my 370 tackles that's going to prove how good I was. And he's going to end up with somewhere around that, if not close to 400, if we go another 3 weeks. And he was outstanding again last night, Scott.
Yeah, and he's such a great leader on the defensive side, and he sets the tempo for the team, and his energy and his football acumen is very high as well. And so a lot of the plays that he makes is not just, it's instinctual too. I mean, he's been able to read the plays, but getting 10, 12 tackles a game has just become the norm for him, and it allows us to do a lot of different things when you have somebody that can be a run stopper as well as put pressure on the quarterback. So he's been a very versatile player, and I think, as you said, we're going to look down the road and we'll reflect on this season and how this was really a team that helped get us back to where we're accustomed to being. He's going to be one of those guys we say he was one of the main reasons why.
I think one of the main reasons for just getting better throughout the season is Noah Long. You mentioned we could have given Noah the Defensive Player of the Week for the last 3 weeks. He plays fast now. He's always been physical. He's a very tough kid, but I told his dad last night that he has gotten he's really progressed as quickly as anybody that I can remember. And it's not that he played poorly at the first of the year. It's just that he's really good now. And he's only a junior, just hadn't taken a lot of snaps. But last night he was a star out there. And so Noah Long's one that I wanted to spotlight. But the best football player that I see maybe on that football team's at safety. Quay Marbury. I told him after the game, he's a star. If he ends up having the size, he's only a sophomore, but he's a perfect build. He could end up in high school. He looks like he could play linebacker. I don't know what he weighs. He probably weighs 175 or 180 pounds. But, Scott, he will lay the lumber. He plays like a linebacker at safety. He runs well. He ends up back in coverage where you have the sense that if the ball's floated in there, he's going to intercept it. Quay Marbury, he's a star in the making. I don't know what kind of 40 time he runs. I don't know all of those superlatives that you've got to have to go and play somewhere. But I know when you turn the film on that everybody's eyes goes to 9. And I've gotten week in, week out now where I just kind of sit back there and just talk more about him than Malcolm or any of them. I'll be honest, Marbury has impressed me as much as any of them.
Yeah, and you and I used to joke a lot about, we have guys who may be 4 or 5 stars, but you turn on the tape and the numbers don't necessarily reflect that. Not with him.
No.
I mean, he's involved in nearly every play. He will come up in the run game. He can play in coverage. I mean, he's somebody that –
Special teams.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all-around football player. He's just a good football player, and he's somebody that has really come on, as everybody has, but he's kind of played well from the beginning, but he's gotten better and better every week, and just the confidence. And you talk about Noah Long and the same thing with Quay. When you have that confidence, you can play quicker. And so I think a lot of the things we saw early on, there was hesitation because you're just getting adjusted to game speed and getting adjusted to, being in that type of environment. But once you have the confidence to say, okay, I can play with these guys, then it allows you to play a little bit quicker. You can play more loose, and that has been shown and to be proven to why the Wildcats have been as successful as they have. And, we've just spent the last 12 minutes talking. We haven't even mentioned the offense. That shows just how great this team has been defensively.
Take a couple of minutes right here, and maybe we'll roll it over into the next segment. Look, we're in Lake Martin area. We've got to talk about the team that Scott and I cover and give them time, but we're going to talk the entire first hour of this program about high school football. So stay tuned in right there. But offensively, as we close out this opening segment, our player of the game last night, deservedly so, was Gabe Benton. He was 10 of 12 passing in the first half for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, also had 2 touchdowns rushing there in the first half, so accounted for 4 touchdowns. You wondered if you could play any better, and he did. He played better than that in the second half, was perfect, no incompletions, 18 of 20 passing, 357 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing. Looked like everything slowed down for him. Stood back there in the pocket just like a statue looking for receivers to get open, which tells you how good our offensive line has gotten throughout the year. If you can stand there and look like a statue, somebody's doing something right for you. But Gabe was delivering last night, Scott, like I've never seen. And I said this, and you've covered and been around a lot of athletics. Everybody wants to play well when it's your turn. You know, everybody talks, and when I'm a senior and all the chips are on the line, I'm going to play great. And we've seen it. We've seen it a couple of years in basketball where one year where we're really good when the chips are on the line, next year maybe we don't show up and we don't play quite as well as we do. That's in every sport, man. Baseball, hand you the ball, you're a senior, go up there on the mound. Sometimes, you know, you perform. Other times it just don't go your way. Gabe Benton, my gosh, when the chips are on the line right now, I don't know that you can play better than he's playing.
No, and I think that he made I think the key difference, and it's something you've talked about for the last 3 years, but the difference has been his ability to run the football and deciding to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take this 10 or 12, or I'm going to give what the defense is giving me, and it's really correlated to even more success from the passing game. But Gabe played an outstanding game, and I thought the 81-yard touchdown pass to Malcolm, the throw he made there, and just the way he maneuvered around the pocket may be one of the more impressive plays he's had as in his career as a Wildcat. I thought that was just tremendous. I don't know, everybody was talking about the angle from the Malcolm side on that side of the end zone, but I was watching it from the Gabe perspective, and it was an outstanding throw. I mean, it was just dead on, and the chemistry that he and his receiving core have is just unmatched. And I think the leadership that he displays is a lot different than maybe he's not a rah-rah guy. He leads by example. And so he sets the tone that way. And so you've talked about it as well. He's very even keel. When it's high, he's still the same. When it's low, he's still the same. And so when you have somebody who has that type of confidence and somebody who's able to keep the team together, that matters this time of year when because we haven't really run into any real trouble so far. And so, you know, you hope you don't have to, but I think that the team is aware now that they have somebody that if the chips were going down or we're struggling a little bit, he's somebody that can lead the team to a victory.
Great points. We'll go ahead and take a break. 256-234-6221. If you've got games that you're out, if you've got players you'd like us to talk about, please call in. We'll talk high school football the entire first hour. Fourth segment of the show this morning, about 7:40-ish, we'll have Coach Smitty Grider, and what a great job he's doing. Got his Wildcats off to a 10-2 mark this year. Was 8-3 last year. 18-5 in his first 2 years. Can't say enough good things about Smitty Grider, and we'll talk to him here in the next couple of segments.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Why don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Saturday morning, every Saturday morning, we're here with you from 7 to 9. 256-234-6221 is our phone number. Sunshine Heating and Air, our segment sponsor here on this Saturday morning. Scott, I feel like I've been talking I think even in my sleep, I'm talking. I'm calling the game last night, and so I'm up here right now, and I may be a little jacked up, but I'm just excited for the Wildcats. I'm excited for a lot of teams out there in the state that you look down. We got a lot of local area teams that are making runs that maybe are a little better than we've made in the last few years, and namely one of them, Wadley, we'll talk about. Boy, can't nobody stop them. Yeah. That opponent they had last night, I think they scored 80-something. Yeah. I think they scored 70-something last week. They've scored 150 points in the first couple of weeks.
I don't care what classification you are. That's
hard to get that many possessions. Yeah. So you're doing something right. We'll talk about them and others, but I wanted to finish up with the Wildcats, and we'll have Smitty Grider on here in the next couple of segments. But 47-27 victory last night in the second round to move to the third round, where we'll take on Pike Road at home next Friday night. Gabe Benton was our player of the game, but he needed some help at the receiving corps, and he got it. He got it early from Chris Foster. Chris Foster with 6 catches last night, 2 touchdowns, had the first couple of touchdown receptions. One was a beauty. I mean, just to start, he can start and stop on a dime. You see it in basketball. He's just got that skill set where he knows he's going to start. He knows which direction he's going to go, but you on the opposing side don't know, and you can look silly at times trying to stop him, and I thought he played a great game last night.
He did, and, as a senior, he's battled injuries kind of throughout the year, and so I know how special it is for him to have an opportunity to be a contributor to this team. And when they're and speaking of that, we'll get David Lawson back next week, who was out this week with a broken toe, but when you have that gauntlet of talent at the skill position, it makes your job as a coordinator, your job as a quarterback that much easier. And so you talked about, Gabe being able to stand back there like a statue. There were multiple attempts where there was not a soul close to him. I mean, he had 7-8 seconds to throw the ball, and when you have guys like what we have who can get open, and it just allows you to extend plays, and we've seen that. But Chris Foster, great night, 6 catches, 2 touchdowns. Michael Simmons does what he does, gets 2 touchdowns, and when you are able to just get those guys the ball, it changes the dynamic of a game. And even though he didn't score a touchdown, somebody who I think going down the line could be very big for us is Sadarius Morgan. There's just some things you can do with him that, put some very tough matchups for people. But saying all that to say, just a great performance from our skill position players, and another great night from the offensive line.
I wanted to hold Malcolm to the end, and can't say enough. Well, you brought it up, and, buddy, I'm just glad I get to watch it on Friday. And I got a lot of people out there in work, whether I'm out around fields, I'm seeing people that I don't know, and they're Auburn fans, and they're like, well, y'all got a guy from Elliott City coming next year. I said, we sure do. And I don't care what they rate him. But Malcolm Simmons, just turn the film on. Just go watch him and see the skill set. And he's as fun as anybody you could ever ask for when it's in the open field. Scott, he can start and stop. And he can get from just a set spot, 2 feet on the ground, to full speed as quick as anyone that we've ever had here. And I'm hoping that moves over to the college ranks and he's able to do it there. But I'll take one pass play last night. He had a deep post pattern. We're going right to left. You're down there on your normal spot, so he's right across from where you're normally standing. He catches. He has to go up in the air. It's a little high. Goes up in the air, hits back down on 2 feet, and I'm not kidding. He was at full speed within about a half a second after his 2 feet got back down on the ground. And the problem is everybody else is playing the ball too. You know, so you're jumping or you're moving up just a little bit, and the way that he's able to get back down and start darting around the field is a thing of beauty, and there's no way that I don't think that moves over to the college ranks and doesn't make him a star there from what I see.
Yeah, he's so great. And speaking to a former administrator in the school system last night, he came to watch the game and was talking about, you know, he'd been hearing it and hadn't seen it. I said, I don't want to get hyperbolic, but I think he is the best high school football player I've ever seen, and especially here at Benjamin Russell. And he's electric, and he can do whatever. And even like something that we didn't even really talk about, and I think was a great move, was putting him on the defensive side at times last night when we needed to. But from an offensive standpoint, the play that you're referring to, it was, I mean, the elevation he got to make the catch first off, and then planted his foot, and he was already going 7 yards past the closest defender. So there are a lot of teams who have a guy. We have multiple guys, but when it comes down to it, I'll take my guy, 0, over anybody. And then I'll see if you beat me, you beat me. But you're going to have to show me that you can stop 0. And right now there hasn't been any team that's been able to do so.
The 80-yard touchdown reception was a broken play. It was a great play by Gabe, but it was a thing of beauty by Malcolm. For one, this wasn't a design play, and he and Gabe are best friends, and so they work really well together, and they got a super chemistry, and it's just nice to see that from time. But he's on the opposite side of the field, and he comes with a roll, catches the ball, sticks the 2 feet down on the sideline, probably that far from the sideline, pirouettes around, outruns everybody for a touchdown. It'll be on replay. You can go to NFHS. We also do replay here on Kalijah Country and WAXC television here locally, and so it was one to see, and it was a thing of beauty last night. A 47-27 victory for the Wildcats over Hueytown. Moving on next week, we'll have our first matchup, probably of many. If I were to guess how many times Pike Road and Benjamin Russell play over the next 50 years, it's going to be a whole bunch, maybe as many as we'll play anybody else. The matchup, where we're sitting, the size of the schools, how good each of us probably are going to be over the next, I mean, it's hard to speculate. I'm just telling you, we love football, and I know they do too. So I would guess this will be the first of many, but it's a heck of a time to be the first time, Scott, a third-round playoff game at the Sportplex.
Yeah, and I did want to mention that typically over the years, the last decade, when we've had a really good team or when we had an opportunity to make a run, there was a team that was always in our way, which is Spanish Fort. And so we always would have to travel down south. And, we had an opportunity in 15 to do it.
Several times.
And so, I mean, there's just that. We wanted from getting rid of that monkey on the back. You did kind of want to do it and go down there and beat them. But the excitement that took place when they realized we had an opportunity to host another game at home, which matters so much in the playoffs. And it wasn't even really about the opponent at that point. It was about the opportunity to host another game, like the excitement that you're seeing on the sideline. And so, I think back, like I've been around a lot of teams and been involved with a lot of coaching staffs and players, but I thought last year's team may be one of the more talented teams we've had in a very long time. this is one of the best football teams we've had in a long time. And just we've been talking about the chemistry and the camaraderie. Like, these are very great teammates. They're like you know.
Smitty says it.
Yeah, I mean that.
He said, "I'm gonna hate it to end because they are that much fun to coach." Boy, when you got a coach say that, because let me tell you, I've been doing this for 20 years. And I've been watching it for my entire life. I've been at that football field, whether it was over at Hamp Line or there. I mean, I've been around all of it. And I'm not just, but I'm telling you, I normally don't hear that. Coaches will go, "Boy, they're wearing me out. Man, Wednesday they ain't want to practice. I got 2 of them. They get in a fight. One of them walked down the hill." And I mean, that's been the norm. You know, we're in, you know, small mill town community. We are who we are, and you know, we're a bunch of tough kids around here, and you know, you probably were hard to deal with at times, and I know I was, but this is not what you hear from this group. And man, it's got to be nice to coach a group like this, and you better enjoy it when you got it. But it's a great group. And when your best players are your best teammates, and they never seem down,
that's it.
When Tyree is your best player and he's your best teammate and he's your best leader, life sure is easier. But when your best player is a headache, you may like to watch what he's going to do out there, but boy, he sure will make you pull your hair out. Well, not this year. And so we hope a lot of you out there have players like that. And if you have one you'd like to call in and talk about, please do. 256-234-6221. When we come back, we'll run down 7A and 6A scores from last night.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed, and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindawa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Black Friday deals are here all month long at Opel Like a Ford. Get 3.9% for 60 months on all new 2023 Ford F-150s or 1.9% for 60 months on 2023 Ford Edges. Only at Opel Like a Ford. Black Friday deals are here all month long at Opel Like a CDJR. Get 2.9% financing for 72 months on new Ram 1500 or 15% off MSRP on new Jeep Compass. Only at Opel Like a CDJR.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got about an hour and a half left on this morning's program. Going to have Smitty Grider on next segment with us to talk about the big win last night here in Ellick City, 47-27. But let's go to the phone lines here in this segment. Caller, you're on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Caller, you there with me? Lost that caller, Scott. So let's run down a few scores here on this segment, and then when we come back, we'll have Coach Grider on to talk. 7A football last night's where we'll start, and the two teams that you're expecting to see play in a state championship game, don't be surprised if they're not there the way that they started out this playoff run. Central Phoenix City all over Auburn last night, 49-21. It got out of hand early. This is an Auburn program that keeps winning. They're 9-3. Last year, Scott, if you remember, Phoenix City beat Auburn by 3 touchdowns in the regular season. Coach Etheridge puts together a great game plan, and they beat Phoenix City, best I can remember, 14-13 in the semis. But this year, there's none of that. This Phoenix City team has not had a close football game all season long.
And they've got studs.
Yes.
And the stud, too. But, I mean, they have been putting up lights-out numbers and setting up that matchup that I think we're all hoping to see.
Mary Montgomery, big victory for them last night over Enterprise. It was an old-school, mine and your era football game, winning 13-10. I looked down, it was like 3-0 late in the second quarter last night. An Enterprise team that was really tough on everyone this year, going 9-3. But Mary Montgomery, first time they've been undefeated in the regular season since 1965. First time ever to win 12 football games in a year. First playoff victory in school history was last week. So it's not a program that's used to that. They play down in the southern part of the state where their region is a juggernaut constantly, but they got a great football team, and clearly it's not just the quarterback. It's not just skill guys. When you hold Enterprise to 10 points, you got a full football team that can compete. So it'll be a test for Phoenix City next week against Mary Montgomery. Hewitt Trustful all over Hoover, 40-7 last night. It's not that Hewitt won, Scott. It's the score that kind of surprises me.
Yeah, and I thought that when Hoover got into the playoffs, they'd be a team that,
get it together.
Yeah, and that just wasn't reflective. And, kudos to Hewitt, but 40 points on a Hoover Bucks team is something we don't get accustomed to seeing very often around here, and only 7 points offensively. But I think they were ready for this year to kind of be over.
Coach Floyd's son, I'm sure he put up massive numbers, quarterback. He was the 7A back of the year last year as a junior. He's back this year. We've given him player of the week for the AHSAA a number of times. And to score 40 points, you got to be doing something right. And he's a great player, but he'll have to match up next week against maybe the best player in the state in Trent Seaborn. I know he's a 9th grader, but, man, you look at his stats and you watch him off the hoof and you watch him spin that football around. We got a lot of receivers in this state that would like to have him as a quarterback. We see a great quarterback every Friday night, but Trent Seaborn is going to be one of the highest recruited athletes to ever come out of the state of Alabama. They defeat Vestavia 34-14. It was close through half. Vestavia was holding them down. I haven't been able to go back and watch the highlights, but Thompson against Hewitt next week, there's going to be some fireworks offensively in that football game.
Yeah, I think it'll be, first to 40 in that type of matchup. But I think that's kind of what we were expecting, those two teams to meet in the semis, and kind of see now, hopefully, if you're in that part of the state, you get a chance to go watch that game.
We'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll have Coach Smitty Grider from Benjamin Russell High School on the phone with us.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. 256-234-6221 is our phone number. Got our good friend and head coach Smitty Grider on the phone with us now. And Coach, glad to have you this morning. Congratulations first. 10-2 start to the season. Third-round playoff matchup against Pike Road at home next week.
Hey, good morning, Randy and Scott. It's good to be on with y'all this morning.
Coach Grider off to a tremendous start, Scott, 18-5 in his first couple of years. And, Coach, you're playing your best football. It's something everybody says, but your team actually is playing your best football right now. Just talk to that.
Yeah, we are. And, you know, it's been a long process for the defense to kind of get things where they are. You know, we were very young on that side of the ball. You know, we not only do we have two freshmen on the defensive line, we got two 10th graders in the back end, and the juniors that are starting have never started before, played any significant football. So, you know, that side of the ball's been kind of a process, and the coaching staff's done a great job of developing those guys and coming up with game plans every week and developing confidence in them, and it's showing up for us. We played a tremendous offense last night, and those guys present a lot of problems with their tempo, with their athletes, and you know, we gave up 27 points, but we had some big stops in the game, and some guys played really well, and it's you know, and I'm just proud to see what they've done. And then on the offensive side, you know, we didn't get off to the start that we wanted on the season, but I think you saw last night what everybody's been expecting out of our offense. And, you know, we played probably as well as we played the entire season offensively against a really good defense. And so it's just good to see us, like you said, peaking at the right time.
Coach, I want to talk about a couple of your guys on the defensive side, and I want to start with your leading tackler, and Jai Hicks. He's going to end up with somewhere between 350 to 400 tackles during his years here at Benjamin Russell. He's as good as we've had around here from a numbers standpoint. I thought he played outstanding last night.
You know, week in and week out, he's the guy. And when you talk to coaches around our region, and they really talk well about Jai. He makes plays. He gets through gaps and makes plays that you just, you don't see all the time. And we're going to miss Jai when he's gone. We got a lot of guys coming back, but it's going to be hard to replace that dude. He's a really special player. He's a great kid on top of that, great leader for our defense, and he's going to make that big tackle in the backfield every week, and he's going to have several of those. And then he comes up with the big hit when you need it. Just a joy to be around and to coach, and I can't say enough great things about him.
Two more kids I spotlighted a lot last night. Just get your thoughts on those two. And they're two young guys that haven't played a lot until this year, but my gosh, you watch them, you turn the film on right now, and they're playing super. One's Noah Long at linebacker. He has just gotten so much better as the season's moved on. And I probably brag on Quay Marbury more than I should. I talk about him nonstop on the broadcast. What a football player Marbury is back on the back end.
Yeah, I'll start with Noah. He is a great kid, and he has worked so hard. You ought to see him in the weight room. He's really gotten stronger. He can run. He's always been able to run, but he's playing much more physical now. He's understanding reads better. It's a joy to see a kid like him get his opportunity. Coming into the season, we really thought he was not going to be a starter at inside linebacker. We thought Ty Smith would be, and Ty got the knee injury in the summer, and Noah was forced into action early this season, and he's really got blossomed. He's become a really good player for us. You never know when that opportunity's coming, and you got to be ready for it, and he was. And Tim Gillespie coaches our inside linebackers, and Tim's done a great job with developing those guys and bringing them along. And Noah's just he's going to be a special player for us down the road too. And you talk about Quay. Quay will be the best football player on our team next year. He is just an unbelievable player back there. He's got speed. He can run. He can hit. He's strong. And what I love about Quay right now is I noticed it this week in practice especially, he's coaching other kids on the coverages, what to do, and that's something that he couldn't do at the beginning of the year. He was lucky to get himself lined up, and he's done a great job of coming on and becoming the quarterback in the secondary, making the calls, making the checks, and it's great to see that as well. I believe he's going to have an opportunity to play at the next level. I think he's going to be a safety for somebody, and if he can grow an inch or two, he could be big time.
Well, Coach, speaking of big time, had a great performance from QB1 Gabe Benton last night, and as you say, last night's game is one where I think this is what we were expecting coming into the season, but kind of rewinding a little bit, to the Homewood game, and just from that loss to what we've seen now from an offensive standpoint, you can just talk about how much confidence and how much better the team has gotten, specifically offensively, down this stretch.
Yeah, Gabe's playing his best football, and that's what you want as a senior, to play in your best football in the playoffs. And, he's the leader for us on that side of the ball. He makes everything go. And let me say this, having Chris Foster back is really what makes our offense click. Chris is just that guy, man. He's going to make those plays. He's going to catch a ball, make two people miss, and get a big first down for us. He finds open spots, soft spots in the defense, and our offense really misses it when he's not in there. Malcolm's going to be Malcolm. He's going to make that 2 or 3 plays a game where it's just unbelievable. You don't know how anybody can make that play, but the consistency of Chris Foster to come up with a big-time play for us when we need it is what we missed when he's out. And having him back is big for our offense. And he's, Gabe's safety blanket sometimes, and he was big for us last night. But, Gabe is the most under-recruited player I have ever coached. He is the best quarterback in the state that I've seen this year. And that kid is not only a great player, he's the best kid on the team character-wise. He's the hardest worker in the weight room, does everything right, and it's just great to see him having the success he's having. He deserves every bit of it. He's taken a lot of arrows in his career as a quarterback, And, I'm sure as a sophomore, and I know last year people would fuss about some things that he did, but let me tell you something. That kid comes to work every day. He practices his tail off. He's the first one on the practice field. He does everything the coaches ask him to do, and it's showing up right now. It's paying off, and if he'll continue to play like that, if our offense will play like this every week, we're going to have a chance to win a state championship. And the team that does beat us is going to beat a really good football team. So, I'm just fired up about our offense and what they're doing right now, and especially Gabe Benton.
Yeah, Coach, and something, too, we were talking about a little earlier in the show is just you're talking about the character of these kids, but something that I really get to see on a week-in and week-out basis is just how great of teammates and how great of supporters they are of each other. And can you talk about how that equates to the success that you're having and how joyful that must be as a coach to have a unit like that?
Well, Scott, that's the reason we're having the success. I mean, we had talent last year. We didn't have the cohesiveness of a team that we have now. These kids pull for each other. They're all friends. They grew up together, and it shows. I actually heard Elijah Johnson talking. We had some players there last night that played on the team last year, and I heard him make the comment, "We haven't even fussed at all since y'all left." And it wasn't on those kids. It's just how this group has come together. And, they don't – it's great to see that they're buying into what the coaches are talking to them about every day, about, what it takes to be a great teammate, how to pull for each other, how to support each other. Because, when you're at this point in the season and you're playing these kind of teams, everything's not going to go perfect. You're going to have times in the game where you're facing adversity. And if you don't come together, if you're not – pulling for each other, you're not picking each other up when somebody makes a mistake, then you're not going to be successful. And the teams that deal with adversity the best are the teams that go the farthest in the playoffs. And, right now we're doing a good job of that. We got to continue it. It's something that you got to continue to work on. It's, it's not always easy to be that person. Everybody has an ego. Everybody wants to be successful. And so when things are hard and you're not being successful, you need that teammate to pick you up, and it's just a joy to be around. And I said it before on the show. This team is really fun to coach, and I know we're winning. And people say, "Well, yeah, it's fun because you're winning," but they are really fun to be around. I love the way the interactions with the guys and how they interact with each other and their coaches. It's just a lot of fun to be around. And you're right, Randy. You said it earlier. We need to enjoy it while we have it. It's not always that way, and appreciate what you have. And I really do appreciate these guys.
Last thing for you, Coach. I know you know the area really well, and it'll be the first matchup with Benjamin Russell and Pike Road. I suspect the first of many, many matchups with Benjamin Russell and Pike Road over the next, 25 to 50 years. The two programs just match up too well, size of the communities. Tell us what you know, and tell everybody, please, show up out at the Sportplex next Friday night. Important to give our kids a crowd like we've seen. We've had good crowds, but I've yet to see one of those where I go, my, look at this place. It's amazing how many people show up, and I hope that your kids deserve that next Friday night. So get us ready for Pike Road.
Yeah, they've got a good football team, obviously. Anybody playing right now is good. They've got Malik Blockton on the defensive line, who's an Auburn commit. I coached his older brother, who's Marcus Harris, that's on Auburn's team now. He's going to be a handful. We played some good D linemen last night, and he's better than what we've seen. And so we'll have to deal with him on the defensive side. Offensively, they've got a freshman at quarterback who's playing at a high level right now. I don't think he's the athlete that we've dealt with over the course of this season, but he's playing really well. They're a young school, but they've developed a really strong winning tradition. Won the 5A state championship a couple years ago, and they're going to come in here expecting to win. And you're right, we need a huge crowd at the Sportsplex Friday night. These kids have worked so hard to bring pride back in this community of our football program. And I just hope that the community will appreciate that and show up for them and be loud. Don't just come to the game. Be into the game. be excited, be loud, and let's get it back to the way it was in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s of what Benjamin Russell football is all about in a home atmosphere that's second to none when that sportsplex is packed.
Coach Grider, congratulations. Look forward to covering you next week, and we'll talk to you coming up, okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
Thank you. That's Coach Smitty Grider, and what an outstanding job he's doing. We'll come back. We'll run down some final scores from last night around the state, move into the College Blitz segment of the show in the second hour.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
It's truck season at Sarah Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at Sarah Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Nissan, and Sarah Chevrolet.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider. Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Lewis Pest Control is now serving Alexander City and the entire Lake Martin area. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Lewis has environmentally safe products for all your pest control needs. Lewis Pest Control.
Lay your best to rest. Call the best. Lewis Pest Control.
Let Riverbank and Trust open doors for you. Whether you're purchasing land, a lot by the lake, or building or buying a home, begin with Tallapoosa County's loan experts. They'll guide you through the entire process, providing local decision-making, prompt responses, and the best real estate loan solutions for your unique needs. And in most cases, Riverbank and Trust can close your loan in 30 days or less, and they'll walk by your side every step of the way. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. We invite you to experience it for yourself.
Let's run down some scores from last night. We hit 7A a couple of segments ago. Let's run down 6A. And, Scott, this 6A bracket, really impressive. If you said any of these teams won a state championship, they'd have to get through Saraland to do it. I think that they are, when you look down at these scores, going to be a tough out for somebody. But all these teams are really good that you'll see moving on in the 6A side of things. You know, last night, big-time wins. In the 6A class, when you look at Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, just a great football team defeating Helena 42-7. They'll look to match up with Saraland next week, who defeated Briarwood Christian 51-14 last night. That's a 12-0 Saraland team taking on a 12-0 Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, two top three teams in the state of Alabama. Boy, that's a tough third-round opponent to match up with.
Yeah, and just hitting Saraland really quickly, I thought that outside of Benjamin Russell, honestly, I thought Broward was playing the best in 6A, and I thought that this really would be a competitive game, especially how well they had been playing defensively. But, man, they put up 50 piece in the first half.
I think he had 35 in the first quarter.
Yeah, so it was like, all right, they're the real deal. And so that matchup with Hillcrest on paper, seemed like it may be a good one, but I just don't. Right now, Saraland's just.
Well, if Hillcrest can't make it good, good luck to everyone out there. Saraland's a really good football team. Benjamin Russell moves on with a win over Hueytown to play Pike Road at home next Friday. Pike Road's 10-2. They scored 31 unanswered points last night as Spanish Fort had a 17-0 lead. And Pike Road storms back and wins 31-17. So a great matchup here at the Sportplex. Next Friday, Parker, what a defense they have, defeat Oxford last night 21-14, and they'll play a very game Gadsden City team that defeated Hartselle 22-15. So it'll be Parker taking on Gadsden City in the quarters, and Muscle Shoals is 11-0, easy win over Fort Payne 41-10 in the second round, and they'll play 11-0 Clay Chalkville. Tough win for them last night. If you saw that matchup, you kind of expected it. Mountain Brook had a great plan and held them to 17 points, but Mountain Brook couldn't put more than the 13 needed. So Mountain Brook out in the second round this year to Clay Chalkville 17-13. Muscle Shoals, Clay Chalkville in the quarters. Great matchup in 6A, Scott.
Yeah, and, that north side of the bracket, I'm interested to see who comes out of there. A lot of great teams left. I really like Parker. Could surprise some people. But that Gadsden City team has really been playing well of late, and they've got a lot of momentum. And just a shout out to their mayor, Craig Ford, a good friend of mine, and he's we talk about it all the time, but the success of your community oftentimes is correlated to the success of your athletics.
It is, isn't it?
So even if it's not, it feels that way. And so they have a lot of positive things going on there, too, and seeing the success they're having there. So shout out to them. But that north side of the bracket, I'm interested to see who comes out.
Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., one of the key players for Gadsden City, but I get the superlatives every week, and it's not just him. Now, he's usually making a play or two, but they got 3 or 4 guys that are always on that synopsis of what they did on Friday night, and really good team. So good for Gadsden City is because they really they ride a roller coaster there, and they seem to be on the uptick right now. In 5A, it may be Gulf Shores and everyone else. Gulf Shores defeats Charles Henderson 41-0 last night. It was Headland over UMS Wright 35-21, so it'll be Gulf Shores taking on Headland in the quarters. Demopolis, what a great football community Demopolis is. Defeat a very game BC Rain team 13-6, and they'll take on another great high school football community in Eufaula. Eufaula, led by one of their best players in program history, and Jarrell Jernigan, now their head coach, has them really playing well. And 9-3, they defeat Faith Academy. So in the south side, it'd be Gulf Shores against Headland, Demopolis against Eufaula. All good football programs right there. Gulf Shores is on the up, but I love that Demopolis-Eufaula matchup.
Yeah, and, 2 communities that have had a lot of success on the gridiron, and good to see Eufaula making a run again, and Demopolis has always been there, so that will be a great matchup.
Northside in 5A's Ramsey, 10-2. They easily defeat Leeds last night, 42-7. They'll take on Moody, who won against Russellville. Russellville had a great running back I gave a player of the week to this past week here in the state, but Moody defeats Russellville 42-21. On the bottom side of that bracket, it's Gunnersville over John Carroll, one of the best football teams for John Carroll in quite some time, but Gunnersville defeats them, and they'll play Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove had a tough loss, I think, to Ramsey earlier in the year, and they've reeled off 10 straight wins. They're 49-7 over Boaz last night. Coach LeBeau does it as well as anyone. He knows that community loves him. He's won a lot of football games, and when you look at these scores, I think they're playing their best football right now.
Yeah, big fan of Coach LeBeau, but it's setting up for an opportunity for the Simmons to see Ramsey and Pleasant Grove in a rematch, and I think that's one that everybody would want to be tuned in for. Ramsey, one of the best teams in 5A, has been for a while, and Pleasant Grove has been around for a while too. Hadn't been able to get her over the hump, but setting up to be a really good matchup.
Gosh, can you imagine the crowd that'll show up for that one in the semis? That would be a great one. In Class 4A, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll run down 3A through 1A. Jackson over Andalusia last night. Surprised a lot, but not surprising me. I've watched this Jackson program over the last 17 years of doing this for the AHSAA radio network, and when they got a good squad, they got a community that loves their football at Jackson, and they defeat Andalusia 31-7. They'll play the best Booker T. Washington team in program history, and it's not close. First time they've made it to the second round of the playoffs. They got great linebackers. They got great players all over this field. They defeat Hanley last night 22-9, so Jackson against Booker T. That'll be a physical football game. That'll be a good football game in the South. Jacksonville defeats a really good Bibb County team 28-21, and Montgomery Catholic gets by T.R. Miller 24-14. So the South Side's Jackson against Booker T. Washington, and Jacksonville taking on Montgomery Catholic. Looking down on the North, Brooks just scores like this every week, I guess. 70 points, 70-42 over Priceville last night. They'll take on Westminster Christian, who's got an outstanding quarterback that puts up massive numbers every week. Westminster Christian defeats Deschler 39-35. So Brooks takes on Westminster. Those two programs right up there around one another. And West Morgan defeats the best football team in Corner history, too. Corner goes 10-2, but loses to a 12-0 West Morgan team. And Cherokee County defeats Haleyville. So it'll be West Morgan and Cherokee County, and Brooks and Westminster Christian on the north side in Class 4A. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll run down 1A through 3A, and then we'll move into the College Blitz segment of the program.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is serving up all your favorites: shrimp and grits, po' boys, tacos, seafood platters, and so much more. Don't miss out on our famous loaded fried green tomatoes. Wharf Casual Seafood is located on Highway 280 next to Regions Bank.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
Finishing off these scores, 3A through 1A, it's Mobile Christian over Houston Academy. They'll take on Trinity in the next round in the quarters as Trinity easily defeats Flomaton last night 35-0. It was St. James over Randolph County 41-6. They'll take on Thomasville, who defeated Strong 33-21. So on the south side of Class 3A, Mobile Christian taking on Trinity. That'll be a great football game. And St. James versus Thomasville. On the north side, a lot of people surprised to see Gordo go out, but Gordo losing to Geraldine last night 42-34. Lauderdale County defeating Piedmont 35-30. It's Madison Academy, now 12-0 on the season, defeating Mars Hill Bible 21-14, and Sylvania over Winfield 35-10. So on the north in the quarters in Class 3A, Geraldine takes on Lauderdale County, Madison Academy taking on Sylvania. Moving into Class 2A, it's Clark County over Goshen. They'll take on B.B. Comer, who finished runner-up last year. Tough football game for B.B. Comer last night, but they get through. They're now 12-0, the first 12-0 start for B.B. Comer since my senior year in high school, and you see how old I look on that monitor right there. 1995, the last time B.B. Comer started the season 12-0. They defeat Highland Home 21-14. Reeltown over Thorsby. Cottonwood defeats Isabella. So Reeltown taking on Cottonwood. Reeltown and B.B. Comer really matching up. Looks like possibly in the semis would be a wonderful matchup here locally, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would love to have that and enjoying the success that B.B. Comer's having. But I say it every week, and I'll continue to say it. But Matt Johnson does it as well as anybody at Reeltown, and the way that they've been able to consistently.
Their community does.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you, Scott, the thing that I've watched over the last 20 years of being interested in youth athletics is how good Reeltown does their youth football. They do it great on social media. They do it great with the parents. They run the same system. It's always physical. They put Scott Hardy's little boy back there that can run at running back, and he starts learning how to run at 7 years old. And by the time he's up there to Matt, they're doing the same. It's a fun community-wide thing, and it's not just a miracle that they show up on Friday every year pulling it off. Well. And so yeah, they're fun to watch, and I just didn't know that growing up.
I didn't either. I mean, I knew, Jacqueline. I mean, you know that they were good, but really when we used to do a segment. This is kind of random. We used to do a Sports Blitz special. I can't even remember the name of the segment. We would go around and interview different coaches, and he was the first one that I got to do. And it was just maybe 2 weeks of being on the job, and immediately you could tell like he was built for this. I mean, he's from the community, had won there, but like he is all about Reeltown, and from birth to a senior in high school, like that is part of their community. You see it in, Ashland line with those places, but to continue to do it after what Jackie O'Neill has done too. Anyway, I'm just a big fan of Matt.
I agree with you. And in Class 2A on the northern side, Tuscaloosa Academy's got a great quarterback. Number of players of the week this week. They take down Southeastern 38-6. It was Pisgah over Tanner, 66-34. Fife defeats Lexington last night, 57-24, and Locust Fort moves on to 12-0 with an easy win over Sulligent, 54-21. Tuscaloosa Academy against Pisgah, and then Fife taking on Locust Fort. That Fife-Locust Fort game, that could be a great one. I know that you may not look at Locust Fort and think that but when you're 12-0 and you're putting up 50-some-odd points, and you look at the number of points, and Fife's given up points this year, a lot more than normal. I'd still say Fife's the favorite in 2A. Would you not say that?
Yeah.
I'd call them the favorite, but you look down and Fife gives up 24, and Fife gives up 38. Now they score 60 in the past, so could be interesting. Closing out the second round of the playoffs in Class 1A, Leroy now 11-0. They're the defending state champion in Class 1A, and they defeat Georgiana last night, 27-13. What a matchup this one was. Hate it for our local area team, but nonetheless, Lochapoka goes down for their first loss of the season. Brantley defeats them 14-12. So it'll be Leroy taking on Brantley. Those two programs know each other really well. Maplesville, 28-21 over Sweetwater. Congratulations, Maplesville. You get to move on and play the A-Train here in the quarterfinals. And his numbers, Henderson's numbers every week, they are Tecmo Bowl Bo Jackson, first Tecmo Bowl numbers. He must be a man amongst boys in Class 1A. And that's Alvin Henderson that everybody wants out of Elba. 47-28 over Milry last night. I mean, he's racks up yards every week. And I know Auburn's hot after him. Everybody's hot after him. But Maplesville and Elba will be a good one next week. In the northern side, Coosa Christian, it says 7-5. I'm not sure they've really lost a football game, though. They had to forfeit the losses that they have. They lose to Lynn, or they defeat Lynn last night 28-6. Hackleburg over Valley Head 33-8. It was Pickens County over Winterboro 38-29. And Wadley 81, South Lamar 27. Coosa Christian takes on Hackleburg. Pickens County takes on Wadley. Wadley scored 150 points in the last 2 weeks. They got a running back that's 6'4", 220. I think he might be a sophomore or a junior.
Is Derrick Henry back there?
He looks like it.
No,
have you been to see him yet?
I have not, but I've seen.
Well, you're where I am.
I've seen highlights, and I mean, it looks like Derrick Henry back there, and it's like, man,
in 1A football.
That's what we talk about. It doesn't matter on classification, but this is one of those times where somebody like that in 1A, you're not stopping them. No, you can't. Somebody like that with that size, if you got any type of offensive line, it's going to be.
It's like Alvin Henderson with Elba. You know, you get an athlete like that would be the best running back in 7A. Mm-hmm. Same with Wadley. He'd be the best running back in 6A and 7A. And you throw them down in 1A, it's 81 points. They're just not going to tackle them, not going to stop them all night. So, but now they're getting into the quarters. And these teams are going to start matching up with teams that will be prepared, and they'll have defenses that can make it tough. So we'll see if they can get through, kind of like B.B. Comer. You know, B.B. Comer very seldom gets teams that match up physically with them, but these next few weeks they're definitely going to. And good talking about high school sports right there. We'll go ahead and take a break. We'll have Luke Robinson on the phone with us to talk about Alabama football in the next segment.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
If you're looking for something to do in the Lake Martin area, you have to go to Liquor by the Lake. Liquor by the Lake is not only the best place to pick up your hard-to-find liquors and craft beers, there's a bar. An awesome bar serving up specialty cocktails and martinis. And the best bushwhacker and creamsicle drinks at Lake Martin. Make plans to come out for happy hour Fridays from 7 to 9 with half-price beer and cocktails. And there's live entertainment on Thursdays. You can even watch the Alabama and Auburn games and Sunday and Monday night football. Liquor by the Lake, located on Highway 49 in the Big Fish Complex near Stillwaters. Open at 1 every day but closed on Wednesday. Come see us.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
It's truck and SUV season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. If you've been waiting to buy, the time is now to save big. Heavy discounts on Chevrolet and GMC 4x4s, crew cabs, loaded and lifted, gas or diesel, half tons to 1 tons. Loads of new and used models. Over 200 on the ground or on the way to Glenn Smith. Don't wait. Call now. Get the best deal on your new truck or SUV at Glenn Smith in Opelika and get ready to smile.
Scott, hope to have Luke Robinson on the phone with us coming up in the next segment, and we'll talk about Alabama football. But, hey, what a great run so far for Auburn. Have gotten off the snide. We knew that 4-game stretch was going to be really tough, but getting through it now looking like kind of like what we see on Friday nights, playing our best football, a lot of positive momentum, a lot of positive things being said on the recruiting front. Can't say much more than we're getting from Hugh Freeze here in year number 1.
No, I'm ecstatic. I mean, if you'd have told me that going into – I mean, you have to assume that Auburn wins today, but if you'd have told me there was a chance to go into the Iron Bowl and get 8 wins with that and go to a major bowl game in year 1 after having 0 talent on the field because of whatever happened previously and the turnover we've seen. But anyway, saying all that, I think that Auburn is doing everything that it needs to do to prove that they're a team that moving forward will be, formidable for a lot of years to come.
3 o'clock on the SEC Network today. New Mexico State, not a bad football team. They're 8-3. They've been able to win 6 football games in a row. So Auburn's on a 3-game winning streak, and New Mexico State on a 6-game winning streak. And you look down some of these scores, they've won in different ways. They've held them out on defense. They've been able to put up a lot of points. So do I think that Auburn's going to really struggle with this one? Probably not, but it's a better team than normal that you would see from a team like New Mexico State this time of year.
Yeah, and, that's – I'm confident, but I don't want to discredit. I mean, they have been playing really well, but it just seems like Auburn really is starting to play its best, and defensively they've been playing a lot better. And I think that what we've seen from Peyton Thorne, I think if you allow him to kind of just play, you can get some great production from him.
Yep, and that has been a really good decision, I think, and we'll talk about the offensive side, but sticking with New Mexico State for just a second, they got a junior quarterback that's thrown for 2,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 INTs, but he's also rushed the football for 705 yards, so 3,000 yards of total offense right now, and they're number 2 in their conference offensively overall, number 2 in their conference rushing the football. They're right there in the middle of the pack in their conference throwing the football. They're balanced, do a lot of things well. I mean, I'm hoping that our defense keeps playing the way that we are, but looking down on paper, this is not going to be one that we're just going to run away with 55-6 or something like that.
I don't think it'll be one of those types of games. I think it'll be, pretty competitive early on. It may stay competitive, but this is one of those games where if you're an Auburn fan, you want to see us put together a complete game and really have a lot of momentum or continued momentum heading into next week's matchup.
One thing I'll start over on the offensive side here on this segment with Auburn and say I didn't know that Peyton Thorne could run the football the way that he has. Robbie Ashford, I knew, and we touted it. We talked about the ability for him to run the football and how physical he was at times running the football. I had no idea Peyton Thorne was as good an athlete as he is. And, now I watch Peyton, and I don't know that Robbie brings so much better running potential to the game than Peyton that even makes it worth it. And I think that has been the decision. And I think these stats kind of back me on what I'm saying there. I mean, Peyton Thorne's got a 64% completion percentage, has now thrown for 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 INTs. But the stat for him that surprises me the most, if you'd have told me early in the year, is that he's got 425 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, almost 5 yards per carry to go along with the losses that he's had, Scott. That's a solid number. If he keeps this up, he's going to end up 600-700 yards rushing, and I had no expectation that would be the case.
No, I didn't either, and so, like maybe many Auburn fans, didn't see his athletic ability as something that would be a contributor to the success of the team. But, and we'll talk to Luke about Alabama hopefully a little bit later, but you look at the way Milroe's been playing, look at the way Thorne's been playing, the success of both teams really started to elevate when they allowed the quarterback to start being what they were. And so you look at their numbers, rushing-wise, very similar, almost identical numbers with Thorne and Milroe. So Thorne's ability to really, I mean, if we had a little more talent, really could have done a lot more. And I think they didn't, I guess they had to know. They've been seeing this, you know, in off-season workouts and in practice, but game speed, we didn't really get a chance to see a lot of that early on, but these last few weeks, I mean, he's displayed the ability to, you can open up the offense so much more when you've got somebody back there like him.
Let's go ahead and go to the phone lines. I think it may be Luke with us. Luke, you there with us, buddy?
I am. How's it going?
Glad to have you, Luke, and we'll just keep it here. Note back there, production read. We're going to stay with Luke this entire segment. We'll catch up on the breaks here shortly. Luke, Alabama football, playing their best football right now. We'll start with that. Jalen Milroe's really turned the corner, and you wished, I guess, early in the season you'd have seen a little bit more of what you're seeing now, but nonetheless, Alabama's really playing well.
You know, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit and say, of course, you would like for them to play this well all the time, but you guys know my theory is that you play your best a couple times a year, you play your worst a couple times a year, and everything else is what you are. And so I think having the worst towards the beginning of the year is what's made him the best towards the end of the year. I think he needed that. I think he needed to be benched, frankly. And I know it probably was very embarrassing. I mean, look, if you've ever been benched before, and I certainly have, then you know that you can go one of two ways with it. You can sulk, you can pout, you can be upset, you can wonder why me, or you can turn it around. And Jalen Milroe, God bless him, turned it around as well as anybody I've seen recently. So he took the benching very, very well, and he turned it into a positive. And frankly, he has become, one of the more lovable characters in college football right now. I mean, his smile is infectious. He's big, but he's tough, but he's somebody you can put your arms around. I mean, he's a lot of fun to watch. He's not cocky. He's not braggadocious. He's just a good kid, and he likes playing football. And I think it's a different style for Alabama because this team's having fun. And, Alabama has always been more of a business-like approach, joyless murder ball. We talk about it all the time. Now, the fans love it because it gives us something to poke our chest out about and talk about how, typically we just beat the heck out of everybody. But really, I'm enjoying this season as much as any of them, even though we've already lost and even though we may not make the playoffs. I certainly want to. But I get it, and I'm loving the fact that this team is more smiles and a little more aloof. I don't think I could deal with that all the time, but I think for this particular team, they need it.
Nick Saban, is it one of his best coaching jobs, Luke? I mean, his ability to change his demeanor and change his leadership style based around the team that he's leading probably says as much about him as a coach as anything.
I mean, that's why he's the best to ever do it. I mean, he can adapt with the best of them. He basically has turned this into this is Miss Terry's team. If you listen to Terrion Arnold and Jalen Milroe and some of the other guys, I mean, he is following her advice as much as anybody's. I mean, he's a lot softer, and that's not really what he's known for, but he's that way. Not, maybe it's a little bit because he's gotten a little older, but I think it's also because he knows, hey, I tried the stick with this team, and I really need to use more of the carrot with this team. I mean, I need to be a little bit more sensitive to the fact that they're not going to take the cuss-outs quite as well. And I don't think that this is a generational thing. I think it's a year-by-year, team-by-team thing. There are a lot of people who say, well, you can't communicate with kids this way anymore in terms of, really getting on to them and pushing them really hard and pushing them past their breaking point. I disagree with that. I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's you've got to see how your team is going to handle your leadership. And, there's one way to do it is to not change and say, this is who I am, y'all adapt to me.
And that's fine. That may work for some people. And Nick Saban's always sort of been that way to a degree. But if you do it that way, don't be surprised. Like, look at Dabo Swinney this year. Don't be surprised when the results aren't very good sometimes. Because if you aren't willing to adapt and you aren't willing to change your leadership style, then your team may not react the way you need them to be very good. And that's what's happening. What seems to be happening with Dabo Swinney, whereas, you know, he's like, I'm not getting in the transfer portal stuff. I'm not getting in the I'm not getting into NIL very much. Well, I mean, now we're seeing the results of that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about Dabo and just what's happening there, and in comparison to what you're seeing with people like Kirby or people like Saban, and just the transition that these guys have seen from a coaching staff and the success that is correlated to in the most recent seasons. But Luke, something I did want to talk to you about, you just brought up the potential of possibly not making the playoffs. Could you maybe run through a couple of scenarios that, you know, potentially if Alabama wins the Iron Bowl and they go on to face Georgia and win the SEC championship, any possible way that they still wouldn't get into the playoffs?
I mean, I think there's always a possible way. I mean, if you watch Sportz Blitz live on Tuesday night with Andy and me, you know, Andy is he is staunch. He's put his feet in the ground saying, hey, if it's Alabama and Texas, Alabama doesn't get in as far as he's concerned. I understand that point. I don't understand not listening to the argument for the other point. I do get the point that Texas's win should definitely 100% matter. But let's also be real about it, that Texas's resume overall isn't as good as Alabama's, especially if Alabama goes on and beats Georgia. That should matter too. So I think big picture body of work, I think it would go to Alabama by a hair. But I'm not fully confident in it, and I'm also not going to be irate if it doesn't, because Alabama put themselves in this position. But there are other ways that Texas and Alabama can get in. Look, and here's the other thing that bothers me a little bit about the future of this team is we need to quit talking about the playoffs. That doesn't need to be the focus. I mean, look, Alabama's got to walk into a hornet's nest known as Jordan-Hare Stadium first. I mean, frankly, the Iron Bowl is going to be Auburn's Super Bowl. I mean, it's been that way for a while because typically they're not even in the playoff discussion. So when Alabama goes in there, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big recruiting weekend for them. It's going to be the icing on the cake for Hugh Freeze if he can get the win, all those types of things. So Alabama's got to do that first. And then they have to go into Atlanta, basically in Georgia's backyard, and beat the two-time defending national champs who would have not have lost a game in, I think, 29 straight. So, I mean, it's not like Alabama's got a easy two games coming up after today. I mean, they've got two very, very – I don't know how many teams in the country could win those two games, frankly.
Luke, last question for you. Give us a little heads up on how Alabama basketball is doing to start the season. It looks like another strong team.
I'm loving watching them. I mean, again, you talk about a team that's having fun. I mean, they didn't get to 100 points last night because Mercer tried to play a little keep away, and I think that was just some gamesmanship, which I'm down for. I mean, if I'm Mercer, I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to score 100 points on me. So Alabama got 98. And they're a lot of fun to watch, and they also have a bunch of different weapons. I mean, Grant Nelson, the first and second games was looking like he was just going to be unstoppable. Then it's Aaron Estrada, you know, putting up a ton of points in one of the games, I think maybe the third game. And now here we are with Mark Sears just unloading on Mercer last night, scoring 19. Meanwhile, freshmen like Jaron Stevenson playing very, very well. This guy is supposed to only be a senior in high school right now, but he enrolled early. So he looks fantastic. I mean, there's just a lot of positivity around the program. I think Alabama, I don't know this, but I think Alabama's going to get a commitment from Darian Reed, who's one of the last 5 stars remaining for next year. And his teammate is already committed to Alabama, and Aiden Sherrill. And I think Alabama's putting together another great class. And look, you look around the SEC, I know Arkansas lost last night, which is it's an upset, it's a bad loss and all those things. I'm not making excuses. But Arkansas is still going to be hell on wheels when the tournament rolls around. That's just what they do. I mean, they're not going to win the SEC tournament. They're not going to win the season, but they're going to be tough in the NCAA tournament. That's sort of how they're built. But you look around the SEC, and Kentucky gave Kansas everything they wanted. Auburn is kicking everybody's tail right now. I mean, I know it wasn't the best field in that tournament in Brooklyn, but Auburn did what you're supposed to do, go up there and beat them each by about 20. And then Georgia's improved. They're not great, but they're improved. Ole Miss is certainly better. I mean, just Tennessee is awesome. I mean, that's the Final Four caliber team. So Florida just beat the brakes off Florida State last night. This conference is going to be a ton of fun to watch.
Well, you've said it, Luke. I mean, we have gotten to the point with Auburn and Alabama basketball where we expect to be good, and we may be taking it to a different level right now because the athletes that I watch on Auburn, and I haven't watched a lot of Alabama yet, but I look at the scores, and the discrepancy between the athletes that we saw 15 years ago and what we see at Auburn and Alabama right now is just night and day.
It really is, and I think the other thing is both teams are doing a good job at trying to increase their scheduling and their scheduling difficulty. I know Alabama's schedule this year is just, I mean, there's a 3-game stretch where Alabama goes to Arizona, who, by the way, has already gone to Cameron Indoor and beaten Duke. Then they go to Toronto to play the number 2 team in the country in Purdue. That's Zach Edey's hometown, by the way. He'll probably be the player of the year again. And they also play at Creighton, a place that's just like I mean, it's sort of the same thing as Neville Arena, but maybe even more raucous because that's it. I mean, like in Creighton, basketball is what they have to do there in Nebraska for that little community, and that place is going to be rocking. So, yeah, you play those 3 games back to back to back. There's 3 top 10 teams all in a row. I mean, there's nobody else that's going to play that. And even if Alabama goes 0-3, there'll be some griping because people don't understand basketball. But I'm telling you, as long as Alabama just shows up and doesn't get blown out all 3 games, I'll be thrilled to death. Because what this will do is later on in the year, when it comes down to, okay, who needs to be the number 3 seed or number 4 seed in the tournament, Alabama's going to get the nod because they went out and played teams versus, somebody that played a bunch of little sisters of the poor. And so I am very pro playing very difficult teams even if you lose.
Yep, and a little keynote there, Ty Davis, the top-rated senior basketball player here in the state, heading to Creighton to play next year. So that's just a note out there to everyone. But, Luke, we appreciate it this morning and look forward to watching this Iron Bowl coming up in the next couple of weeks. At least it's going to be interesting. It definitely will be. We've had years where it hasn't, but right now it feels like it will be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I mean, regardless of the outcome, I think that there'll be a great atmosphere and, the last one for CBS to do, so that's certainly going to be something to monitor as well.
Luke, thank you for the phone call. We'll go ahead and take another break. When we come back, got about 25 more minutes left in the program.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today. Lake Area Realty at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
No chance to watch Auburn football last night with high school football, or Auburn basketball last night with high school football going on in the state of Alabama, but a big win, a big tournament win. Did get a chance to watch the other night against Notre Dame, and from an athleticism standpoint, Scott, this Auburn team's got it top to bottom. They've got a two-man rotation at each position. You also got a couple of other guys above and beyond that if something were to happen with any of those. And I like the length. I like the physicality down in the post. I like the chance that Aiden Holloway is a star and Janai Broom's going to go get his. So you got a two-headed monster that I feel like is going to score every time we go out there. I hope I'm not more impressed than I deserve to be this time of year. Just your thoughts on the initial.
No, I think that this Auburn team has a great opportunity to do something special. It feels like, just looking at the roster, one, I think an advantage that you have, and we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the season, this is the most returning talent that he's had probably since the Final Four run, where you weren't having just such a complete roster turnover, where you're trying to spend the first 10, 12 games trying to figure out how to control your roster and who can play where, and that's something that we've struggled with the last couple of years. But this team is so much different than that, and you have so much experience in at positions that matter, and like this is a complete team. They can score from the perimeter, and that's really an area where if they get any better doing that, they're going to be a very tough out. But interiorly, Broom's going to absolutely be one of the top players in the SEC, and I look forward to seeing how he progresses the rest of the year. But this Auburn team can really be very special.
I think shooting from the perimeter is the key here. Bruce wants to give them free rein to shoot the basketball, but, we've had some shooters that you really didn't want to have free rein, and they'd be jacking up shots from the logo back there, and you're like, man, can we get into a set? I understand, giving them free rein, but like Aiden Holloway, when I watch him stroke the basketball, I want him to shoot more. Like, I want him to be as aggressive as he possibly can be. And, we look down, we hit 9 3-pointers against Notre Dame the other night. That's a stat that when we were really rolling with Brown and Harper and that crew, Okeke and all that group, we were hitting 10 3-pointers a game on average. Now, we were jacking up 30 of them, but you were happy to jack the 30 up because you're going to knock down 10 of them. And I looked down the other night, and we only shot 20 3-pointers, but we made 9 of them. So we shot 45% behind the three-point arc, and Holloway knocked down 2 of them that were highly contested shots. And he's good, man. He's physical enough. I remember watching Sharif and trying to buy into that, but at times he'd get pushed around a little bit, and I'm guessing that's a little bit of the issue that's keeping him out of the NBA because he scores the basketball. But I don't see that way in Holloway. I think he's a pro.
He is, and his ability to generate his own basket. Like, he can score off the dribble, he can score with the ball in his hands, and so I think he's somebody that we're going to look back when it's, deep in the SEC play and say maybe that's one of our best players, and so very well could be by that point.
I tell you who has gotten better year in and year out more than anyone else, Trey Donaldson. His body looks good. His athleticism looks explosive. He's big. He's strong. I watched him the other night, and I made mention to y'all on one of our Auburn threads is that I think Trey Donaldson would start just about anywhere else physically. He's a guy that if you threw him over at Baylor and let him be the starting point guard for a physical brand of basketball like that, I think he would be a star. I'm glad we got him. We got 2 point guards that a lot would want.
Mm-hmm. And, glad to see that he's having some success. This is what we thought that he could be, and what a difference he can make in this team when he's playing like that. And so you look at what Bruce's expectations are and what he expects from his guard play. If we're getting that from Donaldson, Auburn's going to score a lot of points and be very, very tough to defend.
Go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. We come back, got a couple of more segments for you.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell, and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today, Lake Area Realty, at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Recruiting still at full swing. Got Iron Bowl coming up next weekend. You got some key guys still sitting out there. I guess the biggest news from this past Saturday is Jimbo Fisher losing his job after a 51-10 win. Did you see that coming, Scott?
Not after that. I mean, they'd already had to be predetermined. Like, it didn't matter what was happening. They were going to cut the cord. But it's like, you did it to yourself, but $76 million, $77 million buyout, how do you – I know they've got it, but, like, that just seems like that would hemorrhage your program at some point where, like, now you got to go pay another guy $8 to $10 million a year, and in 3 years you go recycle and rinse and do the same things. I don't think that you're going to be successful there.
A lot of coaching vacancies popping up. I want to get your thoughts on each of those. Who would be the best fit at Texas A&M?
I don't know. Like, my initial thought, honestly, I thought Gus would be somebody that would probably try to go for that job. And that seems like a place where he could thrive. But you probably want an offensive-minded guy, somebody that can go out and recruit, obviously, and somebody that wants to play the game and understand, like, you can't get a Dabo in there. Like, you got to get somebody who understands what they're requiring you to do, and you got to get your feet dirty a little bit to do it. But I don't know. I just think that with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, that job loses a little bit of cachet.
All right, I'm going to say Lane Kiffin. What would you say about Lane Kiffin to Texas A&M?
I think it'd be a great get. I'm a Lane guy, so I like Lane. It'd be a great get for A&M. I don't think it's the best professional decision for him. He's in a place now where he can win 8 to 10 games a year, and they're going to love him. And if that doesn't change and he stays there for another 10 years, great for him. But also I think he has his eye on that one job in Tuscaloosa. And I think that if he goes to a place like A&M and he doesn't have the success that he's having now, that could hurt him, like, from a perception standpoint, maybe somebody that they would like to go after. But I think A&M getting Lane Kiffin would be fantastic and could really shift the narrative in the West.
I think that it's either Lane or it's going to be a name that none of us are seeing, like an NFL guy would come in. Maybe I'm off there, but I do think Lane would be a great get. Is Gus going to Arkansas?
I would rather stay where I was than now. If I'm a coach, now granted, you're getting paid if you mess up, so it doesn't matter. But like at some point, it's like, all right, I know I'm going to have to now go. You're on the other side, but now you're going against Auburn, LSU, Alabama, and Texas, and it doesn't make. That's not a good fit for him. It would be a good fit rather, but I don't think that that's a job I'd want to take. Like, I'd be good to sit there and win my 9 games a year and make my money down there in Florida.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he'd be biting off a large chunk, and if you watch anything, I think Auburn's on the upswing. Mm-hmm. I don't think Alabama's going anywhere. I think LSU's on the upswing, and Ole Miss. You look at Ole Miss. You look at Mississippi State. How much better can they get? That's the reason I say Lane Kiffin to Texas A&M. I do think the amount of infrastructure and facilities and money and NIL and potential deals that they've got going there could get them. They've already proven they can recruit at a top 5 level. Lane is the coach at a top 5 level recruiting.
So you say he could maybe – do you think he could get it? Nobody's going to be Alabama,
I think
Georgia,
he could perceive that he could get it. Higher than they are right now. Do I think he can? I don't know. I think Auburn's coming. I believe that, too, with my whole heart. I think Hugh Freeze is about to make us, maybe not to the level of Alabama and Georgia. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying could get to the level of LSU consistently. And if Auburn got to the level of LSU consistently, we'd be thrilled. I mean,
absolutely.
That's every 4 or 5 years you're really in the hunt.
Yeah, you're competing every which is all I've been begging for forever, is that to have every recruiting class, if you're at Auburn, every recruiting class you play for an SEC championship.
And unless you just do something poorly, you're going to win 9 or 10 ball games a year. And I think that's how much I think of our program at Auburn, and I think that Hugh Freeze will get it there. So somebody's got to go down for us to come up.
Yeah.
And I don't see Ole Miss getting any better. I don't think they're going to get worse, but I don't think they're going to get any better. And it's going to take a heck of a coach over at A&M. So, we'll see.
Is that a better job than Auburn?
Who, A&M? No. I think it's a worse job. I think it's a harder job. I think you are fighting Texas over there. And I know we're fighting Alabama here, but I don't know that maybe. I don't know enough about it to know how passionate the fan base is. I know how passionate we are here. If Auburn gets the thing going right, man, he's going to have some more support than you can shake a stick. Now, financially, it's a better fit, but they don't have the history we have. Nowhere near it. And they haven't been able to put it together, even with Johnny Manziel and all that that stem from that they weren't able to. Let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll close out the program.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours, Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
This fall, nobody beats Martin's Sports Pub for Lake Martin's best sports experience. Martin's all-star lineup of cold beverages and pub fare food can't be beat, with the region's best wings, burgers, and signature dishes. At Martin's, you always have the best seat in the house for all college and NFL on our multiple 360-view TV and huge projection screen with surround sound. See our pigskin scoreboard weekly to win big money and let our all-pro teams serve it all to you at the place we all win. Martin's, Highway 34, Dadeville.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care open 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Let's close out the program the same way that we started. A great win last night for Benjamin Russell. We're right here in the Lake Martin region. High school football is king. We got a lot of local teams that are playing well. Wildcats won 47-27. Reeltown, big winners last night. They moved to the quarters. Wadley, not far up the road, outstanding team. They've scored 150 points in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. We got a couple of private schools that's 35 minutes from us that won state championships on Thursday in Chambers Academy and Lee Scott. Scott's a good area. It's a good area to be living and playing football right now. And count your blessings when you've got a team like we do in Ellick City that's still competing. You know, that's all I ask for. And unfortunately, in communities like ours, you ride a wave. But, buddy, when the wave goes up, we hope that you get behind them. And we hope that you pack the Sportplex next Friday night, as Pike Road will have their first matchup in school history for both in the third round of the playoffs against Benjamin Russell here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I do want to put out a call to some of our former players and alumni. A lot of people will be home for Thanksgiving. If you can stick around that Friday, please come check out the Wildcats. They've earned it, and they deserve the support. And we talk about the pride and how much we support our community. Well, this is an opportunity to display that. And so I love being able to watch, NFHS and what we're able to do with Kalijah Country and providing those services, WAXC, but WOTM rather. But I am just ecstatic about seeing the Sportplex packed, and I hope the boys get that next Friday.
Yeah, watch us on replay. I try to say I love hearing from y'all, and I told Smitty a couple of weeks ago, I said, it may not look it in the stands, but I honestly don't think that the support is any less than it ever was. I talked to so many people that watch the games, and they're still as passionate as they ever were, and I get text messages all throughout the night on Fridays, and people love it. It's Alabama. It's high school football. It's local community. It's mill community like we were. We're old blue-collar kids, and you and I still sense that we are. But the kids don't see that. They need you out and supportive, and they need a crowd like, say, we had against Vestavia in the semifinals many moons ago. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. There was people all over. I mean, the whole hillside was packed.
That used to be the best thing
It was an amazing crowd, and our kids deserve that next Thursday as we'll host a quarterfinal matchup, and our next Friday, and I think we'll get it, and we'll keep touting it, and that's a good point you make, being Thanksgiving. But all around the state, if you have kids still playing high school football this time of year, count your blessings, because it's a great run, and it takes a community to pull that off, and we're lucky to be right here in the one that we're in, and we know that you feel the same out there. For Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning in to the Saturday Sports Countdown. How about the 4th and 5th grade boys? What did I tell you about that?
All right, so funny thing, what best thing